Hey guys, welcome to Lesson 10 Concept Development video. Today we are going to be practicing subtracting or subtraction of decimals. So we're going to subtract decimals using our place value strategies. So we're going to use unit form. We're going to use our place value chart to help us. And then we're just going to shift into standard algorithm just like we did with the addition lesson in Lesson 9. Again, you may not have your exit tickets and materials at home. I'm sorry. I'm going to send home these books just to get solve that issue because I thought that keeping the books at school would make it easier on the parents and the families and you to not have to deal with all that. What I'm realizing is it's way too hard to manage figuring what materials to rip out for which days that we're not here. So we're just going to send those books home in the future. My apologies and thank you for your patience with that. But without further ado, let's start subtracting some decimals. So we're going to start with some unit form practice. So it's just like anytime we're doing it, if I have apples, 5 apples minus 3 apples, what would the answer be? You take 3 from 5, you're left with 2. And that would be apples, right? Because that's the unit. So 5 apples minus 3 apples is 2 apples. But remember, unit form, let me get a fatter eraser so I can do it quicker. Unit form is the same idea, just using our decimals as the unit. So if I did 5 tenths minus 3 tenths, well, that's still going to give me 2, but the unit is tenths. So when it's like units, you can easily combine. Be careful though, because we might have to regroup in the future. So let's just try that again now with multiple units. Remember, we can combine or take away the same unit. So that's what I mean by that is if I have 7 ones and 3 thousandths, and I want to subtract 4 ones and 2 thousandths, well, what do I need to do? Well, I subtract thousandths from thousandths, so I know I can take 2 thousandths from 3 thousandths, and that would leave me with 1 thousandth. And then 7 ones minus 4 ones. I can take 4 from 7, so that would leave us with 3 ones. So that would be 3 ones and 1 thousandth. Oh, that's the announcements right now. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not. So to turn 3 ones and 1 thousandths into a decimal in standard form, well, we know the 3 goes before the decimal because it's 1. So 3 point, well, they're not saying there's any tenths. They're not saying that there's any hundredths and that there's 1 thousandth. So our answer would be 3.001. All right, well, let's try again. Let's try to make it a little harder. This time we're going to do with 9 hundredths and 5 hundredths, sorry. Be careful here because it's hundreds and hundredths. Make sure that you're noticing the THS because that THS is saying it's parts of a number, so we know that that's talking about the decimal place value. And we're going to subtract from this 3 hundredths. So, oops, I didn't really want to do that line. What's that going to equal? Well, can I take 9 hundredths? And can I take 3 hundredths away from the hundreds? No, I'm going to have to take 3 hundredths away from the 5 hundredths. So did we take anything? Did anything happen to the hundreds? The 9 hundredths? Nope. So they'll stay the same. And if I take 5 hundredths and take 3 away from the 5, I should be left with 2, and the unit stays there. So our answer is 9 hundredths and 2 hundredths. So 9 hundredths, which means there's 0 tens, 0 ones, and 2 hundredths. So 0 tenths, 2 in the hundredths place. So 900 and 2 hundredths. Great. Well, let's see if we can convert from unit form to standard form. So if I do 83 tenths, and I say I want to subtract 6.3, or 6 3/10, I have to think about a place value chart. I'm going to put my decimal here, so tenths over here, hundredths, thousandths. To the left of the decimal, ones, tenths. So if I put 83 tenths inside of my place value chart, or if I'm visualizing it, I can see what I need to do. I can see I need to regroup this 8 and put it into the ones, because anytime we get more than 10 in one place value, we need to regroup. So that means 83 tenths is really also known as 8 3/10. Well, I can take 8 3/10 and stack it, making sure to line up ones over ones, decimals over decimals, tenths over tenths, and now I can simply solve the problem. So sometimes we have to convert from unit form to decimal form or standard form so that we can solve the problem easily. Let's try another one. Let's do 9.2, or 9 2/10 minus 6 ones and 4 tenths. Well, let's convert. Let's make them both standard form. We already have 9.2 as standard form. So if I convert 6 ones, so I know that's before the decimal, and 4 tenths. So I'm subtracting 9.2 minus 6.4. So I'm going to stack them, lining up those place values nice and accurately. And now, on this one, we have some regrouping to do. Because you cannot take 4 tenths away from 2 tenths. So what are we going to do? Well, that's right. We need to regroup and decompose some of those ones into tenths. So we're just going to bring over one of those ones and make it tenths. Now we're dealing with 12 tenths. And we're going to be subtracting the 4. Well, can we take 4 from 12 now? Absolutely we can. So if we take 4 away from 12, we're left with 8. The decimal comes down. Now in our ones place, because we had to regroup, we have 8 minus 6. So we can take 6 away from 8, and that's going to leave us with 2. I put that mark over my decimal, so I'm going to re-put my decimal in there. So our answer for this should be 2.8, or 2 8/10. Great. I think we can just go on to doing some straight up standard algorithm practice now. So let's just take 0.831 and we're going to subtract 0 and 292. So 831 thousandths minus 292 thousandths. Well, how are we successful with numbers when we're adding? Same thing's true over here. Same thing was true on those other pages. We have to line them up. Let's line them up. All the place values over top of each other. One way to make that easy is using the decimal place. If the decimals are lined up and you are neat with your digits, everything will line up nicely. So, when we're subtracting, remember we got to make sure the top's ready. Well, we get the top ready by regrouping if we need to. One way to notice if the top's ready is the top digit needs to be larger than the bottom digit when we're subtracting. Well, we can't take 2 away from 1. So we need to regroup from the hundredths place into the thousandths. So we regroup. We're going to take one of these hundredths and we're going to make them into thousandths. And so that means we have 11 thousandths minus 2 thousandths, which gives us 9 thousandths. Now we're on to our hundredths. I noticed that we're trying to take 9 hundredths away from 2 hundredths. We know we can't do that, so we have to regroup. So we're going to borrow one from the I shouldn't even say borrow. We're going to regroup from the tenths and bring one of those tenths over to our hundredths. We are now working with 12 hundredths minus 9 hundredths, and that gives us 3 hundredths. Now with our tenths, we're ready to go. 7 tenths minus 2 tenths is 5 tenths. Decimal, decimal, keep bringing your decimal down. 0 minus 0 is 0. So our answer for 831 thousandths minus 292 thousandths is equal to 539 thousandths. All right, let's do it again. Okay, this one I'm going to do one with thousandths and one with hundredths and see how we work on this. So 4 and 83 thousandths, or 4.083, minus 1 and 29 hundredths. Well, let's stack them. That's how we're successful. Whoa, what did I do, Mr. Briggs? Undo? There we go. We got to stack them, so I'm going to change colors to stack 4.083. Again, let's line them up nicely. The decimal is going to help us. Make sure that's a decimal, 1.29. What do I place in that thousandths place there? There's nothing there. Well, we represent it with a 0. Well, what's 3 minus 0? Can we do that? Can we take 0 away from 3? Absolutely. It's just the same. Right here, be careful because we have to regroup. We cannot take 9 hundredths away from 8 hundredths. So we need to regroup. But look at the tenths place. There's no tenths to take. But remember, if we think about our place value chart, we can say that that's like 40 tenths. So if I just regroup across the 40 tenths and make it 39 tenths, now I'm ready to go and give that back. Because I went from 40 tenths now to 39. Now I have that one to regroup with our hundredths. Well, 18 minus 9, I can take 9 away from 18, and that leaves me with 9. I can take 2 tenths away from 9 tenths, which gives me 7 tenths. And then down here, I can take away 1 from 3 ones, which will give us 2 ones. So the answer for 4 and 83 hundredths minus 1 and 29 hundredths. Oh, I think I said that wrong. Let me try again. 4 and 83 thousandths minus 1 and 29 hundredths equals 2 and 793 thousandths. All right. You guys are doing a great job with this. We're going to go into the problem set. You're going to have to do questions 1, 2, and 3. All right? I'll say that again in the problem set video. All right. I'll catch you at the problem set.